What makes a clothing brand sustainable? We always hear this word sustainability. What does it actually mean? Well, in this video, I'm going to explain to you what it is and what are some things you can do in your clothing brand that can make you more sustainable than what you really are. Because think about it, it's very difficult to be 100% sustainable because we are living in this world. You live most likely in a building or a house or an apartment that has water, that has gas, that has oil. And with gas and oil, we're emitting carbon emissions into the air. So, if you have a car and you drive from point A to point B, or if you're going to work, you're emitting carbon emissions into the air. Or if you want to travel and you get on an airplane, you're still emitting carbon emissions into the air. So no matter how we look at it, sustainability is very difficult to achieve at 100%. Now, there are ways to be more sustainable, and in this video, I'll explain what those things are. Before we get into it, hit the subscribe button to get wonderful content just like this. Somewhere around here, you can subscribe, and you will get more videos like this every single week. So let's get right into it. So the first thing is to break down what sustainability is. Now, as it says here on Google, it comes down to one simple sentence. It's prioritizing the planet. We don't know how long this planet will last. I got one theory in terms of how long this planet will last. I think once the sun implode, then explode, which happens every 5 billion years, then obviously there won't be any more Earth. Okay, I learned that in my science class many moons ago. Other than that, I don't know how or what the time frame is of our or these carbon emissions affecting our atmosphere or our clouds that's going to make the world more hot, right? So I don't know the time frame on how much that's going to affect planet Earth, right? But like I said, we can all do our part. So, so if you are prioritizing the planet, then you are on the right path. Now, what are some ways you can prioritize the planet? Well, if you're thinking about opening a vintage retail store, or if you're in the vintage resale business, you're already on that path, because you are selling clothes that somebody has worn, and you are selling it to people that are wearing those clothes. So you're not in the business of producing clothes and making clothes that's going to be done in the manufacturer, where carbon emissions are going to be emitted into the air. So you're already on the right path. However, if you're not in the venture space, there's still some things you could do to make yourself more sustainable. Now, as we look here, the first thing is the environmental responsibility. Now, what is this about? This is about the materials that you're using producing the clothes that you're making for your consumers. So the more natural or the less synthetic the materials you're using, the more sustainable you are. So, for example, if you're using cotton, and not just any cotton, we're talking organic cotton, that's good. Hemp, that's good. Linen, that's good. Tencel or lyocell, that's also good. Or just any type of recycled fibers is good. Okay, so by using these type of materials that are produced by the earth, or by, it's produced by the earth or grown from the earth, then you are on the right path. Another thing is, in the clothing that you're producing, if you can reduce the amount of dye that you use, then you're also on the right path, because these dyes are very toxic. Okay, and also these dyes are very harmful for your body. Okay, so reducing dyes are very good. And another thing is another point here is about waste reduction. Waste reduction involves upcycling scraps. Now, this is a big business. Well, not a big business, but a lot of local artists have made upcycle clothing. And in my clothing store, they have done really well. When you can piece together different pieces of clothing and you can make another piece that's beautiful, that is a unique piece, people will buy it for a higher price. Now, we've seen this a lot in our store. And like I said, it has sold really well. But that goes back to selling vintage clothes. It's a used piece of, these are used garments. And if you're producing something, for example, and you have leftover scraps, you should keep those scraps and you could give it to an artist and they can create something else. And you can give the artist a cut on the profit that you make by reselling that piece. So that's another way how you could do it. Now, I would say the last thing here, or two other things here, is about fair labor. Now, fair labor is safe working conditions. You've probably heard maybe some time ago how in China the working conditions were not that good. People were working, 20-hour days, getting 4 or 5 hours of sleep. There was no air conditioner in there. It was no heat in there, or proper heat, and these people were physically exhausted. Okay, so you have to make sure, or do the best you can to at least try to see if the company that you are getting your clothing produced at have fair labor practices. Now, you may not be able to go to the company to actually see, but if the company is disclosing that they do have fair labor practices, you can take them at their word, or you can ask them about their company and see if they can respond appropriately to these questions of how they treat their laborers. Okay, now, if you have a budget and you want to go down there to these manufacturers and see what and how these people are working inside these manufacturing companies, then go do it. So that's that. Now, another thing here, which is the last thing, is about slow fashion versus fast fashion. Now, there is a lot of companies out here that is into fast fashion, and we've seen a lot of these companies. We're talking Shein. Some people would throw, let's say, H&M in there. And there's countless of other companies. They're using synthetic materials, and the clothes are not made to last a long time, right? But if you have slow fashion, these clothing items are made to last a long time. The materials are more organic, and also they're at a higher price. But that's slow fashion, and it allows you to be more sustainable by producing clothes that are slow fashion. Okay. And a little bonus here is that, let's say if you're a company that's producing clothes, something you can offer, which is what a lot of other companies offer, is a repair service. Because if your consumers know that you will repair their clothes, and if they come into your store and it's a lifetime option or a lifetime guarantee that they can go inside your store and get their clothes repaired, then what will happen? Your company will be more sustainable, because if that person can't get their clothes repaired, then they may throw the clothes away, or they may not, or maybe they really want it and they'll go to a seamstress and try to get it fixed, but it'll never look brand new, or it'll never look like they originally bought it. So by taking it back to the original company that actually produced it, they can do a better job at repairing those clothes, which will allow you to become a better or a company that's more sustainable. Now, some companies that have done this and do it well, for instance, as we can see here, is Patagonia. Patagonia has a lifetime repair company or part of their company that allow consumers to go back into their store and they can get any piece that they want repaired. Another company is REI. Same thing. These are outdoor companies, by the way. You can go inside our REI and get your clothes repaired. Now, you have to pay, but that's okay. You pay to get your clothes repaired, and they will repair and they would repair your clothes. What else we got? We have another company is Cotopaxi. They make some really nice coats, by the way. I got one, really nice warm coats. And they also will repair your clothing that you bring to them. And there's a bunch of other companies too. So anyway, I hope this video was insightful, and I hope you were able to get you some tips and tricks on how to be more sustainable, even though we live in a world that's very difficult to be sustainable in, but we can all do our part. And on that note, hit the subscribe button for more content just like this.